If you have an Olympus OMD EM5 Mark III, an EM1 Mark II, an EM1 Mark III, or an EM1X, then Olympus have got a new firmware update for you. Now, what you get does depend on which model you have, so let's start by having a look at something that's specifically for the EM1X. The headline feature for this firmware update has to be bird detection autofocus, which is just available on the EM1X. Now, it works by prioritizing the camera's autofocus system whenever it sees birds within the frame. It can find up to 8 birds at a time, and it can focus on them anywhere within the standard autofocus area. When you half press the shutter, that changes to become an autofocus tracking point, so you can either recompose or have the bird move around within your frame and it'll follow it. Now, I'm no wildlife photographer, but I've tried it and it works extremely well. It'll start by trying to autofocus on a bird's eye. If it can't find an eye, then it'll try and find a bird's head and focus on that. And if that's not available, it'll go for the entire body. Now, one thing I did find when I photographed birds was I ended up taking an awful lot of pictures, so you'll be really glad to know that the Bird Detect autofocus works seamlessly with Pro Capture, so you're always going to nail those exciting moments. To activate Bird Detect autofocus, the first thing you do is to press the menu button, then go to the custom menu, go to A3, tracking subject, and from there you can go to the birds option. And remember to change the autofocus mode to continuous autofocus plus tracking. Sometimes it's the smaller things in a firmware update that have the biggest impact, and I think for me, the focus indicator could be it. It's available on the EM1 Mark III and the EM1X, and it's great for anybody who uses manual focus. With this feature, you actually get a visual display that indicates whether you're turning the focus wheel so you're focusing closer to the camera or further away. To turn this feature on, press the menu button, then go to the custom menu, go to A4, manual focus assist, focus indicator, and set that to on. I've always found the Olympus OMD cameras to be really good at video. You're watching one right now, and the new firmware update improves things like the image stabilization for video, which is always welcome. But if you've got the EM1 Mark III or the EM1X, you get another new feature, which is the ability to output 12-bit 4K raw video onto an external recorder. Now, to activate it, you press the menu button, then you go down to the video menu, go all the way down to HDMI output, across to output mode, across again, and change that to raw mode. And finally, focus stacking now supports the new Zuiko 150mm to 400mm Pro lens, which I don't actually have. But what I do have is a USB cable, so I'm ready to start installing my firmware update, and you can do exactly the same thing right now. I'm Gavin Hoey, thanks for watching.